your past boyfriend and like what he was saying about like, oh, I know I'm being a cunt and I know this and know that, and that just kind of made me think a little bit of my past girlfriend and like some of the stuff she was coming out with, in the sense of I'm not enough for you and things of that nature. And it's like, no matter how you thought about him being like, well, if you know that you're being that way, stop being that way. And no matter how much I was like, well, stop thinking that, because that's not true, I still didn't have any control over it.
Yeah, because that's their path, isn't it? It's their way. Yeah, it's their thing. Yeah. And I think because the way that this situation panned out meant that he was very, like, he got very involved and close with girls that I was friends with, they were my friends. He met them through me, and then he got very close to them, and then me and the girls fell out, and they were like on my like, I don't know, in my how I treat human beings anyway, they were like ganged up on me and were horrible. And because he then decided to live with them and be kind of best friends with them after our breakup, I think because I had seen them as my friends, because, well, they were my friends, and he had met them through me, like maybe a year before, I think that added to the sense of this need for control, because I felt like well, you know, if he was like, we had broken up and then he was going to move in with like Tom, Jack or Harry, like whatever, like, you know, some other mates, or even to be honest, girls that he had just met, like, I think I would have felt a bit less like the need for control. But this situation brought up, I mean, I definitely already had stuff about control. I mean, if a year on and I'm feeling like this, I must do. But it conjured up everything that was, conjured up this thing about control even more so, because it was people that were, I just felt like, what now you're going to live with my friends, the ones that have just like been horrible to me, that are spreading lies about me, and you're my ex, and like nah, like nah, like it felt so wrong to me and so alien, and so I think that the control thing was like really like I must, in my life, in my life's path, this must have been the exact right time that I had to face this demon of, I don't know, of what it was, of being feelings of rejection and like unloved and control, because it just all happened at the same time in like a very painful way, like in, you know, losing the friends and him, and then them kind of teaming up and being a trio friendship group together, like very, very, it's a very poignant thing to happen as well. So it's made me also look at it like, there must be lessons that I need to learn in this, because this isn't like a, you know, usually someone breaks up or they have a nasty breakup and that's horrible, and usually, you know, people will fall out with people who maybe they thought were their friends, and maybe they realise a bit later down the line that, you know what, they probably weren't as good friends as what I thought they were. But usually those two things don't happen at the same time, and then their ex and those friends like make some love story, like friendship love story, like at the same time. So I think at the time I wouldn't have wanted to admit at all that it was anything about control, because I would have been like, well, no, hang on, like I've spent 3 years with this guy, and so I would have said, I deserve, even though we're not together now, I deserve you to be more loyal to me, even though we're not together afterwards, and for you to yeah, for you to like have like respect for me, so you don't kind of run off with these girls that have treated me like shit. But actually, you know, and in his mind, he's thinking, well, I'm not with you now, so I don't actually owe you anything. Like, I know I'm being a cunt, but at the end of the day, like, you know, that's what he must have been thinking. Like, well, I'm not with her, so I don't owe her anything. And at the time, I would have been like, well, that's wrong. That's wrong though, because you do. But now I can see that the only reason, if on any level that's wrong, which there's no wrong and right really in these kind of things, but I felt like it was wrong because of my own values.
Because of how you would have operated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I would have thought, I wouldn't, like, that's wrong because I wouldn't do that. But really, that's leaning towards a control thing. Because it's me trying to. I mean, I'm not saying what he did was fine, and like everyone, you know, can do what they want in life, but I mean, to have an opinion about it, exactly. So you can have an opinion about it at the time, can't you? Like, well, I think that what you're doing is really not very nice and really uncompassionate to someone that you've spent, you know, 3 years in a committed relationship with. That's an opinion. But then for a year on, for me to be still caught up about it, I think that's the thing with control, because I've still been resonating with this feeling of like, I need to control it, I need to change it, I need to change the outcome of this situation. When, like Ashley said to me, like, I have no control. I had no control then, what he did, what they did, and I've got no control now.
But you have choice.
You have choice on how you relate, yeah.
That's the thing. We always have a choice of how we focus on it.
There was also something you said that he must have. You said in a moment where he must have related to something in a certain way. So it's like not a guarantee. It was more like what you think he's thinking. And the thing is, when we're in this space, because we've all done it, I've done it as well. She must be having the time of her life now. You know, like now she's got this guy now, she must be happy, and like we're always going to try and think that they are thinking or doing something particularly in a particular way, because our mind has created that. So that must have is not actually a fact, and it's just bearing in mind that it's not a fact yet. I know it sounds crazy, but it's a must have. Technically, it's not guaranteed that he was thinking that or doing that or whatever it is that you said that as a must have.
It's just your assumption.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing when you try and
that's
like,
the thing. Why do we go to negative assumptions?
work out.
Yeah.
Because it's funny. Like it was more of it's an assumption, but instead of it being a positive assumption, it went to negative.
And
I think it's because in my mind I couldn't relate how his actions could have come of a positive assumption.
No, I get that.
damn.
I mean, there were some things which would have been positive about it, and like what he got out of it in the short term. But you know, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? Like, I can, you know, it's a year on, and I still am bewildered as to how and why he did what he did. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm never gonna get there, because you know what, the chances are actually he doesn't even know why he did what he did or how he did it. Let alone me trying to work it out from where I'm sitting. Like
Exactly. Yeah. So
if
for
you
1
worked
year,
it out,
you know what I'm saying?
and you were around him now, at least, if you worked it out, then you could be like, well, maybe he did this because of this and that and blah blah blah, and then you help that person see that realization, which then produces an outcome that you're probably hoping to get, which would have been the justice and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't even carry the weight, would it? Because you've just kind of put it on their lap.
No. And also remember, like what I said, the thing that I've heard Junior, like what Abraham says, basically, like anything that you ever want, you want it because you think you're gonna feel good, basically, or you think you're gonna feel better. And
there's a feeling that you feel you're gonna have when you get it.
It's the emotion or the state of being, basically, that you want. It's not the actual thing. So accomplish the state of being, irrelevant of
that you want when you get it. Yeah.
Irrelevant of it, because that's what you want anyway. And then your power isn't that I need to accomplish these things outside of me so I can have this state of being. It's no, I'm gonna cultivate this state of being, period. And then,
you know, that's the best one ever, Ash. You do know that, innit?
Yeah, I know.
I think that's easily the best. That's the best realization. Like for me, if I could just live the rest of my life and just make sure I have a poster that just reminds me of that quote.
Yeah.
It's just that's all we need.
Yeah,
it's so empowering.
It's so powerful. Like,
because you
how
don't
many
need
times
anything
have you done
else.
it?
Huh?
How many times have you done that? Bought something or did something to get a result that's gonna make you feel better about something, but you thought it was just to get the thing or to do the thing.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
Yeah.
And it never was the main thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, that's the most powerful one, man. Easily.
Yeah, that's it.
And it applies to everything in life, like you're saying. Everything.
Yeah. And then it's almost like, I don't know, this is in my occurring. When you are cultivating that state of being, it kind of supports you in coming from or living also a more authentic, or I don't know if I say more authentic, I don't know, a more authentic life, because then you're no longer doing things to try and feel a particular way.
Yeah.
You're doing things because it's really a natural expression of the place you're coming from already.
It's in the now. Yeah.
Versus, because I like, even just for example, alcohol drinking, not to make it wrong or anything like that, but as in sometimes it's used
best example
for people to like, they use it to escape, for escapism, because of that state of being that they then accomplish for that period of time, which is free and ease and peace and da-da-da. Whereas if you kind of accomplish that kind of state of being, period, and then you're like, you know what, I want to drink as well, then it enhances that state of being even.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like you actually get to enjoy the doing and the drinking of the alcohol versus 100%. I'm feeling this way, so I've got to get that so then I can feel this.
I can definitely hold my hands up to that.
It's a joy rather than a tool to get somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, it's easier said than done, but it can be done, and it is a simplicity, and it's a practicing.
Definitely agree with you.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think there definitely is. There's some being able to cultivate peace around a topic or a past event. I think, well, for me anyway, I've seen that it's not like, okay, one day I'm gonna find peace around it and then that's it, then I'm gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely moments where the penny drops like harder and they're memorable, and there's a shift in your thinking, but it's still, I mean, maybe it depends, like kind of like how addictive your nature is, your mind is or something, but there's still like, you have to be able to like remember that place so you can go back to it, like I was saying before, because when we have like habits of thinking in certain ways, you just kind of can naturally fall into that habit. So it's that art of being able to cultivate a feeling or an understanding about something, and I think it's probably like the more that you do that with anything in your life, the better you are at it.
Exactly. It's more practice. Practice bad habits very well. If you smoke, we can practice that very, very well, man. We can practice all the other things, the good things as well. Definitely right. the day, we all know these tools, like, and we can come up this call and be like, that was great call, excellent, a lot of insights in that one. And tomorrow, one thing could happen, man. Like, you just flush all that down the toilet, because at the end of the day, it's all about repetition, isn't it? Like you said, it's about the repetition, and our mind's not going to automatically, because we've had this insight, shift into that mode again. Like, like we're having this moment now, which is great, but at the end of the day, it really is that our mind is used to such and such. Your mind's been used to for the last 14 months thinking about this situation and not having clarity on various things. And I think that's another thing. Clarity is something that makes us hold on to things as well. So if we don't know the reason for someone's actions, we hold on to it. Like, for example, we know that, like, there's many types of people in the world, but there's some people who do this more than others, and there's some people who talk behind people's back because they're angry. Like, they're vexed someone did something wrong, so they tell someone else, and they express how annoyed they are to someone else about how they feel about something. Everyone's been guilty of this, or the people that haven't been guilty of that, and the people that are not guilty of that are the people that are the straightforward ones that tell that person straight to the face immediately, so that they get clarity immediately. That, listen, why did you do that? Get the clear reason why they did it, and then they could just lead their life because they know the reason now.
But then when someone turns around to you and they're like, I don't know why I'm doing it. Where's the clarity?
Well, you have got the clarity there.
You got the clarity that they don't know.
They don't know. That's the clarity. Yeah,
but you don't think it's enough. Like, you think, nah, there must be a reason. It must have something to do with me, or like, what did I do, or
But you just think, like, I just can't accept. Like, I think now I really am at a place where I can, but I think at the start I was just like, that just doesn't even resonate with me. Like, I just can't accept that. I just can't accept that you just don't know. But because when you were saying, like, but you can go to that person and say it to his face, I'm thinking, like, trust me, I said it to his face. Trust me, I said it to his face. And I got nowhere.
Oh yeah, it's true. You did it, but it's remembering that it was his thing. And that's the key. I think that's what the key thing is about that, is that it's like, why? And it's like, even if they don't know, it's like, okay, you don't need to know. If they don't know, why should you need to know? And it's like, not taking on their baggage, because I think that's almost what it is. Like, we try to take other people's baggage on. It's like, that person doing something wrong, they should be doing it this way. It's like, let's just take their baggage on. Like, they should say please after things. Like, that's their baggage. They don't say please. Like, okay, if you want to live your life doing that, just say how far you get with not saying please. Like, and what type of negative energy you're going to connect with. Like,
let go of it. Like, okay, you're gonna act this way. I don't understand it, but actually, I don't need to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we try to understand it, we're taking on their thing that has nothing to do with us. It's like, if someone's racist, that they're just a race. I know we always use it as a reference sometimes. Like, most of the time I use a reference to racism because it's quite a strong thing, like, where some people deal with it differently than others. So that's why I use it as an example. But if someone is mad racist, they just do not like black people, full stop, that they're not going to change their mind. Like, what's the point of me trying my best to tell them, like, look, listen, man, we're just all the same. Like, I could sit there for hours trying to school them on why we're the same. We eat shit, sleep the same, we bleed the same, we fart, we do all the same things. Like, I can tell them until, a week, a month, a year ahead, and they could just be in their feelings of, what, I just do not like black people, and that's that. Don't like your skin color, and that's that. Final. I don't want to hear anything. And you could be sitting there arguing with them and getting angry. All you're doing is taking their energy. And it's their thing. It's what they're choosing to be like in their life. And what they're going to achieve in their life is that they're going to be around only a certain amount of people in their life, because they don't like the black race. So, like, there might be someone who's in the black race who can make a massive difference to their future, and they don't get to connect to that person. That's what they're going to lose out on. And the same with me. If I say I was like, oh, don't like white people, do you know what? Black power, only blackheads, no one else. Like, if I was just to be like that, like, there might be someone who really sees potential in something that I'm doing, who is not a black person and wants to give me an opportunity to elevate myself in my life, and I reject that because of their skin color. That's what I'm losing out on, an opportunity. So at the end of the day, it's like, that's their thing. Like, there's no way of me trying to like school them. Like, it's nice to make a difference to people, but it's nice to make a difference in their life when they're ready for it, versus trying to win them over, like giving them loads of reasons why they should like you. And it's the same with love. Like, you shouldn't have to put so much effort to have someone respect you and want to be with you and do things for you. Like, if they love you, they'll do it. If they don't, well, like, it's not really required for them to do it. Like, and it's not like a contract. Like I said to you, it's no contract saying that they have to be this way.
They have control over you.
Yeah. If Sylvia wants,
we're only really in control of how we love ourselves, how we love other people and each other. Like you said, if anyone, even though I think in your mind, I suppose, when you're like caught up in a relationship, you can think that, well, I love you like this, so you should love me like that back. But like you said, in reality, actually, they don't have to. They only have to love you just as how they want to love you.
Yeah, exactly.
If they want to treat you really beautifully and really lovely, that's great.
That's down to them,
and that's down to them. But if they want to treat you like shit, that's also down to them.
And then it's down to you what you choose.
You choose to accept and what you don't, or how you retaliate to it. And
so what about moving forward?
Moving forward? Oh, after the fact.
Because we've said about like holding on to the past and letting go and stuff, but then it's like, what about the next part?
Well, the next part comes after you've let go. That's when it starts to become a bit more present, and everyone has their own different versions of that. Don't think there's one particular way that shows what you do after. Because I can't actually put a finger on, like, with the whole situation of, you know, the ex that I had the issues with. Like, I can't remember the turning point for that. I can't remember the point where now I'm not even thinking about it much anymore at all. Like she's brought up now, but she's brought up in as a reference of that was it's a very different way versus before. It was always like coming from now I'm gonna do a half an hour spill on how much she pissed me off and all this stuff. Like now it's just like, just to bring her up because I have to give an example or whatever. So I don't know what the turning point was when I stopped caring about what actually happened and how it happened, and I can't remember the turning point. I think the turning point came when I started meeting other people, meeting new women who had a different perspective on life and just living my life, to be honest.
I keep going a little bit back and forth with that. Meeting women, not meeting women. In my head,
you're always gonna you're always gonna have
in reality, because in reality there's at times when there are girls showing up at some point and sometimes there's not, but in my head I'm like I don't know, it's almost, I don't know what, I'm not sure, but I keep going back and forth in terms of, at one moment it's like, I'm aware of, like, this is the journey and this is the journey I'm going to be on, and then there's another point where it's like I question the journey,
and that's where it stops. It's the questioning. Like, the questioning makes you want to
I get that's
focus on something that it's the because you have to think here, it's a focus. Like if I'm focusing a lot on, oh bloody hell man, I'm here at work, what a long day it's going to be today, I just focus on that all day, I'm gonna have a crap day, man. Like no doubt, like all I'm thinking about is the bad of the day. Like but like you have to think that when you're starting to think about these things in a negative way and escalating them, that means you're focusing on them.
But it's not so much if I know if it's necessarily in a negative way, but it's like for example, the other day I had a girl ask me like, what am I looking for? Like just casual dating or something of that nature, and I hadn't really fully considered that question or what my answer was, and for me I was just like, well, I know I want to, like, my intention is an easy love life basically, and whatever the byproducts of that are, that is that. And then
but I guess she was more thinking like, do you want someone to have sex with, or do you want a relationship?
exactly, but I don't want to answer those questions. I don't want to give those kind of answers because that's
it's almost like something to hold on to.
Because
you said this.
Do you feel like it's too limiting?
Yes, one, it's too limiting, and it's irrelevant to me. Because like that's why I said like whatever the byproducts are the byproducts. Because I might, let's say I hang out with a girl, we have a great time, but we might not have sex, so that's not going to matter to me. Or I could meet up with a girl and we're not having a great time. I'm most likely not going to want to have sex with her still, because we're not having a great time. Like the key for me would be like the essence of it. But then I kind of questioned afterwards, like, well, do I need to kind of be aware of some of the details of that? Like, because at the same time as well, I'm not like, I mean, beforehand when I was single, I wasn't like, oh, I'm looking, a relationship, but I was in a place where I was open to it. Whereas right now, I'm not saying I wouldn't be open to it, but I don't see that as on the cards in the near future right now. Because of the place that I'm still in. Because I still love my past girlfriend. Like, that's still there. So I don't see how I would actually get into a relationship with someone at this moment in time. I wouldn't do that, because that just wouldn't work for me to do that. And then I suppose, and then the question comes up, oh well, why are you dating then? Maybe you shouldn't start seeing other girls right now. Having female company.
Yeah, but there's that. Why should you live? Yeah, it's true.
But then when I go to, but the whole point, before my past girlfriend showed up, like when she showed up.
That's a joke.
What?
No, what you just said there is such a good point though. About the girl, about the girls. Like, so what about this?
Oh
like,
yeah. And then it's like, but I'm like, the thing for me is like, it's the journey that I want to have in my love life that's more important to me. And if having a girlfriend again is part of that, then that's cool. But it's the journey. And I don't know if some of that, I mean, that's always been important to me, but I don't know, or maybe there's a part of me that's still like referring back to, I suppose, some of the experience that I had with my past girlfriend then, and how the journey of that fluctuated from being easy to not being easy, basically. More so, and how that I don't want. But then again, it's well, I was gonna say it's annoying. It's annoying when I'm in my ego mind, because then it's like, it's fucking annoying because I don't have control over the girl. Or
how they're gonna be,
how she's gonna relate to stuff in the relationship. I just don't have control over that, so I can be like, an easy journey, and keep myself in that place as much as possible. But I have no say over whether that person stays aligned to that as well, as much as possible anyway. I mean, because obviously there'll be moments of it not being easy.
Or if she even gets that.
Exactly.
That whole approach. Because
yes.
I'm just thinking like I think most women or girls or young women, if they were to go on a date with you and like girls are always trying to gauge what is this guy's intention, unless they put it out there very obviously, then that's probably what they're primarily trying to gauge by the first or second good date, like what is this guy looking for, kind of thing. And if you say, I'm just here for the journey, I'm just just be yourself and just stuff, we get it, because we know you, we're kinds of we're kind of like already like so socially like, you know, we get each other's language, like where each other's coming from. But to some girls, like depends on how you met them as well. If they're like come from a completely different, like, I don't know, like background, circle, experience, that to some girls that would just sound like bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
They would just think like that he must be lying, or it would just sound like he just wants sex and he can't say it, so he's covering it up with like this journey shit.
Yeah, and the thing is, I just really don't care about. I mean, I love it, but that is not the primary thing. Like,
yeah, no,
but it's not like, and because the thing to me as well is like how I usually and how I've most of the time related to sex as well is it's never just a thing anyway. It's not just a thing to me. There's meant to be passion there, connection, presence of love, all that sort of stuff still anyway that I like to bring to it anyway. So it's never just because I had someone say to me the other day, I'll say, oh, if it means it's just a beat, and when I first
she's definitely in her early 20s, man. Like 20. How old is she?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It was a girl that said this.
She's a teenager.
Like, because I said something along the lines of like about, you know, fun and love and ease and all that. And I was being
she
direct.
hasn't been in love, so that's why she's saying that.
Huh?
She hasn't been loved, that's why she's saying that.
And I was saying, like, look, I'm being direct, I get it, but my time's precious. And so she said, like, well, if me wasting your time, if basically you just want to beat, if that's basically what you want.
I can't believe a girl used that word.
And you're saying that would be me wasting your time.
Oh, I thought you were saying that she was like, it's just a beat. Like, if we have sex, it's just a beat. Oh, she was saying like, if you just want to beat.
Yeah, if you just want to have sex, a bang.
Yeah, if I just want
to. Just using slang. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
At first I was like, beat. I was like, what? My mind, I was, and then I was like, oh, I get what you mean. And I was real with it. I said, look, about like, well, yeah, sex is cool, but that's not what I'm talking. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, it's got nothing to do with that. But that's the thing. Like, it's like I haven't anchored myself to anything in particular yet in relation to my love life. Like, in terms of what to be in tune with, and there's so many different individual girls out there with all these different perspectives on things. And it's like trying to stay true as much as possible to what my expression is, and I have no control over whether they get that or not, and not trying to change how I express things to try and make them get it.
Yeah, and not trying to coach them into getting it. Because like,
trust me,
that's
yeah, that's true.
That's fun to get into that situation where you're like coaching someone through your relationship. I think that's.
I remember you said
that's something girls do a lot as well.
Do what?
Women. I think women are. I think when they date a man, it's different, and they don't usually fall into that behaviour as easy. But from what I've seen and from my own experience, because I would say generally, but it is like a general. There's definitely like exceptions, but I do think generally girls mature a bit quicker than boys. So a lot of girls in their like early 20s will be in relationships with boys in their early 20s, but the boys might not have the same maturity as them, and then they fall into this dynamic where they're going out with them, they love them, and on some level they're like on the same level, but then also in their relationship there's this dynamic of the girl is like growing the boy up, like whether it's in practical ways or emotional ways or mental ways.
I've never had that at all.
No, well, I mean, I can believe that, but I don't think it's one. I don't think it's like everyone, and two, I think it depends also if you have happened to be in a relationship at that point in your life, because it probably isn't a dynamic that happens so easily as if you're not in a relationship. But then also what I hear a lot is girls, you know, my best friend, she was dating this guy who was like most definitely quite, I mean, he'd never had a relationship before. So he was quite inexperienced in that sense, and he didn't really know what he wanted, and she was dating him and she was getting quite, she liked him, and I think he probably, I mean, I don't know, but I think he probably did like her, at least on some level. And she kind of got to this place in it where she was like, well, you know, the thing is, I know that she was making excuses for him about the way that he acted and the kind of the lack of, I don't know, care he had for her and stuff, and like just his lack of like really just thinking about stuff. And she would say, well, I don't mind being the one to teach him, you know, I don't mind being the one to show him how to be a boyfriend. And to me, like, maybe it's because I've been in that situation where I've experienced trying to grow someone up. Like that's the whole reason I was going to break up. Well, I broke up with my last boyfriend because I knew like he needed to grow up and he wasn't going to grow up while he was with me. But yeah, to me, it's like, oh, it's like alarm bells ringing, like there's no way in hell I never want to get back into that dynamic. But I think a lot of girls, we like can very easily fall into this habit of caring and like trying to, like, it is a control thing though as well, because you're trying to make them into something that is like, oh, but I know they can be like change. That to change, you're like, oh, but I know that they've got this in them, because you know, I can feel like he loves me, I know that he loves me, so really all this other stuff is just like, you know, topical stuff that I can change, that I can help him change. But that's actually, even though we can think we're coming from a good place of wanting the best for someone, at the end of the day it's still kind of also coming from a place of control. And it's also just not accepting what is in front of you. Like if that person in front of you isn't what you want, then that's not what you want. Don't try and change them into something that you want, because it's never going to work. So what you were saying about when you're dating girls and you're talking to them about like what they want, or if they don't have the same like understanding as you about stuff. And I was just thinking that, because I know what you're like, I can imagine that maybe you could fall into situations where, you know, if you like a girl, it's like you're trying to help her through, you know, I mean, obviously as partners, as like significant others in people's life, not even as partners, but as like friends and lovers, like we do try and help people better themselves and come through stuff. But there's like this balance, isn't there, in a relationship, where it's like you don't want it to go past this thing where, okay, now I'm no longer on the same level as you, and I'm just helping you and you're helping me. Now it's actually just like there's too much weight on me. It's like too much one way.
Well, what advice would you give me then? What suggestions would you say in regards to that then, that dynamic, and just in terms of just the whole love life thing? Because that, you know, another thing as well was, because what you said about like how, but if I was just to say about you know, an easy love life and stuff like that, like how a girl can particularly interpret that as, oh, that means he just wants fun and blah 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 blah. Because when I think about it, one like thought that was kind of inspiring was like just the whole idea of just enjoying dating again and enjoying hanging out. And I was like thinking, like, you know, ideally that's what I just want to do for the rest of my life. And if it ends up being with one female at one point, because that's kind of the kind of mindset that I was in before I got into a relationship, and that's kind of the mindset I was trying to keep alive while I was in a relationship. Because to me that it's like that was the essence of it all, like for us to keep enjoying that romance together as much as possible, because otherwise what's the point? But yeah, if I'm like, if someone's like, oh, if what do you want, and I'm just like, I just want to keep enjoying hanging out.
It's like, how do you really answer that? And like the thing is,
also I don't really want to be so specific on that as well. I kind of just I do want to just be like,
we'll just say you want to get to know someone. I think that's the easiest way to get clear on that. It's just you want to get to know.
Yeah, and saying like,
that's
you know, well, I'm open to get to know someone, and then just seeing where it goes, like where it takes us.
Exactly.
Then that sounds, I think that sounds a bit more like, well, that sounds generally like, oh, so they're kind of open to a relationship and not open to not a relationship. But I guess then it depends as well what they want, because
that's
sometimes now with like social media, social apps and stuff, with dating, you don't really know. You could be meeting up with someone that strictly just wants a boyfriend, and you know, me and my friend talk about this a bit, and I think it relates into like a wider, or it can relate into a wider topic, where we're like, is it possible to date someone who on most levels, like, I don't know if you want to call it on like a mental level or intelligence level or spiritual level, or I don't know, but like these kind of conversations we're having, or I suppose you could even relate it into like different things, as in like hobbies and just like things that you like. But we were saying, like, can you date someone who, like my best friend, the girl I was talking about before, this guy that she was dating was like, I mean, he was a few years older than us, but just like very immature in the way he was, and like really a bit ignorant and like unexperienced and stuff. And we were talking about how, is it possible to date someone who's really coming from, I mean, obviously you can date them, but is it possible, I don't know, to have like a constructive, healthy relationship with someone who's coming from a completely different wavelength to you?
Wow.
See, I want to say anything's possible.
Yeah.
I do believe anything's possible, but I have experienced. But I don't want to put this in my. Okay, let me just say it really quickly, but not indulge in it. But I'd probably say experienced more so having dated or been in relationships with girls that, in my occurring, don't seem to be on a similar wavelength. Like, then more so girls who have been on a similar wavelength, and that has
impacted.
It has. I have seen the impact that has had. I mean, not so much because of, but then again, I don't know. To me, I feel like not so much because of. I know this might sound like it's not me trying to put blame on anything, but if you guys think that, call me out on it. But it's not because I'm necessarily thinking that. It's more that they might notice that, and then they think that they think it's a problem, because then they think that because my friend recently actually said, you've had quite a few girls say something of that nature to you, basically like, oh, they don't think that they're enough, or something along the lines of that we've got different kind of mindsets, like we're not basically on the same wavelength or similar wavelength. But I'm not the one that's saying it to them. Like, I'm not the one that's saying, look, you're not enough because you're not on the same wavelength. But it's them experiencing that they need to catch up, or they're not on the quote unquote same level and stuff like that. Whereas in my wavelength, I'm like, well, I'm not even observing you as not on the same level or not enough.
Well, that happened to me and Sylvia.
I have no control over that as well.
Like what you just said there.
Yeah.
That's how it was for Sylvia. She didn't think that we were on the same page. She felt like she was, you know, at a various place in her life at her age, that this was a kind of standard that she's at, and that I had a lot of catching up to do, and that weighed her down a lot. Like the whole feel was like, am I gonna have to wait for him, and what if I have to wait for years for this, and how you deal with that? Because remember, like we said, that happened before. Why are we still together now then? Like it's the perspective of how I saw that. I didn't see it as being like she's trying to overtake me, and she's trying to say that I'm too slow, or trying to push me to
Catch
do
me up
things.
on who Sylvia is.
Oh, sorry, it's my missus. Sorry.
Okay, this is the girl you're with now, the woman you're with now.
Yeah, I tend to do that a lot. Sorry.
No, okay, I'm filled in now. I didn't know if it was your ex or who you're with now.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, that's funny. Yeah. Sorry. No, I bring our name up in random conversations as well. People like, who's Sylvia, by the way? Oh, sorry, it's weird. So yeah, it is really just how I related to how she realized that, hold on, it's not about him trying to catch me up, it's about I'm here and I'm going to help support him through what's important for him, and I'm going to also have to try and do things to make us both work together with this thing. Like I knew that there was things that I had to fix about the way I was dealing with life when I was seeing her, that obviously got us to where we are now. So it wasn't too much about of her saying, oh well, Mike, you need to just step the game up now, or we're through, because well, that kind of happened, but it wasn't me being like, oh yeah, well, I've got to get back with her now and mold myself into the perfect person for her. It's like I knew what type of human being I want to be, and that's what she wants me to be, is the type of human being that I want to be, that I wasn't allowing myself to be. And therefore I was making more of an effort to be that human being for myself, not for her, for myself. And obviously we got to enjoy our journey with me trying to do that. And obviously, you know, she has her standards in life, she has her goals. She wants to be at a particular place in her life at such and such, like, oh, in 5 years time she's the type of person to look at that, yeah, in 5 years time I want to be there. Like me, I wasn't really doing that. So like, it's something that I've learned from her. And I think for most of the girls that have been in your life, there's things that they're going to learn from you being that way, Ash, but they weren't ready for that type of conversation, or they find it too confrontational, just like I did. I found it confrontational, her being that way. It's like, hold on, this is my life. Yeah, if I want to work weekends and do my freelancing in the week and, you know, hopefully get myself in a great position, I want to do this, I'm going to do it. Like, stop trying to make me feel like I'm not achieving anything in life and that I should just go the normal route, 9 to 5, and I was making myself a victim. But ultimately, now she understands what I'm standing for, what I'm fighting for, and what it is that I want to achieve. She has a better understanding of it versus me just like lazing around, just, yeah, well, this is what I do, I just hope for the best, you know, like that. She saw it as me just you know, just trying to get a free ticket, free ride, like. And ultimately, when you're seeing someone, you don't really have it that you have to put too much effort in explaining what it is that you want to do in the future, because you're only seeing them. It's like you're only giving them half of you almost, the sexual side and a little bit of chitty chat. Obviously, when big conversations come up and you're starting to see each other, future starts coming up. Do you want kids? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Then it starts to get a bit more tense. But of course, for most people, they just get confronted when they hear that stuff. And that's what it sounds like, Ash, that a lot of these girls are being confronted by the conversations that you're having about life at the moment, and they feel like that's just too early for them, that they want it a bit more subtle, or I don't know, they're just their own people, and so they deal with it a different way. But I just feel that they're not ready for that type of.
But when you say ready for what? Because it's not necessarily that I might even bring those things up. It's that they have those conversations with me.
I know,
or
but I just
my point of views around things, and then obviously I share what my point of view is. And because because I remember as well, Samuel was saying to me recently, as well, when he was sharing about that same thing, he said, because he's experienced being confronted around me. He was the one that said it even to me, like, oh, Ash, sometimes You know, it might not be that people don't want to be around you, but sometimes they might find it being quite confronting around you, because basically you either I or them being around me, things get highlighted that they know of already, but they're maybe you put into the side, or not, or make an excuse around it, or something of that nature. And it's not that
you call people out on their shit a bit.
Yeah, but even that, it's not that I go, oi, you. No, man. It's not
No.
that cool. It's not that.
Yeah, but it's just your natural. It's actually a talent. It's actually a talent.
But do you know what as well? Because when he said it as well about it, and I was like, but Samuel, do you know what? Like, the thing is, I hear that, and obviously I don't want to give people the experience of feeling unnecessarily comfortable. Because that's never even my intention. But I was like, I just don't think it works for me to be around someone and they're talking about themselves in a disempowering way or in a crappy way, and I indulge in it with them. There's just no way. Like, if they're gonna get confronted because I'm bigging them up, basically, or I'm telling them, or I'm saying, no, but this is what I see about you. This is your greatness, or this is this, or da 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 da. I'm like, well, if they don't want to be in my life or something of that nature to that degree, then I have to be with that. Because I'm not gonna have people be around me, and if I appreciate and can see what their unique greatness is, I'm not gonna not point it out to them if they're talking about how basically rubbish they are. So
it's like
if that's what you mean about them not being ready for those kind of things. I'm like, well, I don't know what to say about that.
Well, I think that if you're, how can I? So, if you're someone that, you definitely have a knack of, like, reading things or reading people, but then kind of being able to bring it back to them and what it means for them in an empowering way. But for a lot of people, I don't know if I can say majority, but let's just say a lot of people, that will be uncomfortable, because to kind of to be able to talk about yourself or to consider yourself in an empowering way, which is often what you do, which is fantastic. It's a talent, it's a loving thing to do, it's a compassionate thing to do, it's who you are. You should not change it. But in order for people to sit with that, they already have to have some sense of like self-acceptance and self-love. And that's something that a lot of people, even if on the surface they look like they're cool, like deep down, how much can they accept? How much can they really be open to love and accept love? And so I don't think it's like when you were saying before, like that people weren't ready. I was thinking, like it's like when. Well, I know it wasn't like this, but it reminded me of how girls often are the ones that like, I want to have a boyfriend, I want to get married, or have kids, and the guys are like, whoa, I'm not ready. But for you, it's like it's happening in this dynamic where you're a bit of a truth teller, let's call it. And if people aren't like comfortable with being in a place to hear it, then it's very, I suppose, like to protect themselves or, to feel comfortable, then they can kind of be like, I'm not ready for this, or I'm like I'm not at this level, or I'm not where you're at, or I'm on different wavelengths, and they can kind of push you away for that reason.
Because one of the things that I'm past, because of what you're just saying, my past girlfriend said, one of the things that she came out with was, what was it? She said she wishes she was ready to accept the amount of love that I have to give to her, and that she could do the same. Like she was devastated when she was saying all that stuff as well. But to me, it might, like when I was, and like I was being with that, but like when I thought about that after the time, I just don't get it. And I get that it's not, I don't have to get it. But I'm listening to what you're saying, and so I'm like, well, maybe it's the control thing again, because then I'm like, all right, fair enough. But then it's like, well, I don't know what to do then.
There's something that she needs to be, she needs clarity on about herself and how she deals with those things that would allow her to accept that. And because she's still constantly having this conversation in her head, it doesn't matter what you do, how much you love her, the great person that you're being in supporting her, she's always going to have that until she deals with it. And she feels that she needs time to deal with that. And for the most part, you know, it might be her being alone that helps her to do that. Being away from you, giving her all of that, and her not being around that for a long period of time, maybe gets her to realize how important that is to have. And yeah, it's just a thing that she's gonna have to learn from. Like I said, I think your situation with your ex is similar to my situation with my current girlfriend. I think that it's just the reverse. Like I was literally, in many ways, I feel like you've taken the role of what my girlfriend was like when I was seeing her. And things that you said about Amber, how she's related to some things, is a lot of the way that I dealt with things as well, which is very interesting considering. Yeah, I just feel that she's going to understand a little bit more where you're coming from and how important it is to have that type of contribution, with the absence that she has from you. It's going to become a bit more clearer for her. When you're in it, it's hard to see it. I think when you take yourself away from it, and that's what happened to me. It's like when I took myself away from, when we're no longer together, we both got realizations that when we end up coming back together, and sharing them, it made us stronger. And like I said, like when I first started recording this, there's no way I'd have been telling you, yeah man, like I reckon in about a year and a half, I reckon I'll be moving in for girl, and I reckon, yeah, like, man, all this what's happening now in my life right now, I couldn't have predicted it whatsoever. No way, 100%, no way.
No, it's definitely it definitely is a powerful experience, because like as I was saying with you before, like there's just been some shifts that I've had within which are just like I don't know, they're just kind of unexplainable in a way, but,
exactly,
but so powerful in terms of moving forward, especially around focus and stuff. And but then I suppose that's the that's part of the what's happening right now also, even around 1 second, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Let me just make sure something.
Oh boy.